Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is something a bit different. This is a sponsored review of my personal favorite commuter e-bike that I've ever ridden. This is the Himiway A7 Pro. I'm going to start by talking about the features that I'm excited about with the bike. Then I'll take you for some first-person rides and talk about how well it lives up to the promises of the features. The thing that I'm most excited about this bike is that it's a mid-drive motor with a torque sensor. So excited about that, where so many bikes these days are rear hub driven and they do not have torque sensor. And almost as exciting for me is that it has full suspension, where again, so few commuter bikes have full suspension these days. It's got a 4-linkage pneumatic rear shock. It's a D&M A006 or something shock, which I don't know much about, but hey, if it can take the edge off my ride, then I don't care what it is. It also has Shimano hydraulic disc brakes. It's got an excellent advertised range of 50 miles owing to its LG 48-volt 15-amp motor. It also has an adjustable dropper post, which I've never seen on a commuter ever, and it has a 400-pound payload. So much to love. Let's see how well it lives up to these amazing specs. And here we go, beginning our long range test. We're going to be in assist level 1 only. See how far we can make it. It says advertised that we should be able to get 80 miles on a fresh charge, which we do have a full charge. That is significant. And that's going to be a long ride if that's what it'll do. But I have a feeling we won't make it 80 because I'm a bigger guy. I weigh I think around 220 and it's a little windy today. Alright my friends, we've now gone 12 miles and the battery is still looking fairly full, so you know, maybe we'll get our 80 out of this thing. And what else can we say so far other than this has been extremely enjoyable. I did stop to adjust things a little bit. I'm 5'11" and I did decide to raise the cockpit up just a little bit and move the seat back. I feel like that helps. It's a nice cloudy day, not too hot. Perfect day for a test like this. I'm remaining in setting 1, haven't changed that, and that's more than enough power for the sort of rolly trails I'm doing. Nothing's too steep. Say that right as I head up a hill, but it's fine. Get some good exercise, get a little bit of an assist to take the edge off the length, just like I like it. Beautiful day, beautiful ride here in St. George, Utah. It has been a fun morning of riding, but there is rain on the horizon. It's getting closer. I knew it was on the forecast and tried to outrun it, but I've only gone almost 30 miles. And I think we're 1, maybe 2 bars down. Certainly not 50% yet, so that's a great sign, but we'll have to finish this out tomorrow or another day. It's been a great ride. I have thoroughly enjoyed it so far. The only thing that I have not loved is there's a rogue squeak coming from somewhere that when I get back home I'm gonna have to try to track down because it is really bugging me. Some sort of creak from somewhere, and usually that's like a cable or something rubbing. Could be a bearing.
Could be a loose linkage in the suspension. There's a lot of things it could be, and sometimes if you've had a lot of bikes, you know tracking down rogue squeaks and creaks can be not a very fun process. So hopefully I'll find it quick, eliminate that, and go back to thoroughly enjoying it. I did have to adjust one other thing, and that was the barrel on the shifter. Had to tighten that just a little bit, just maybe a turn and a half, and that's very common with new bikes. You will get some cable stretch pretty soon after your first ride. That's not uncommon, and you'll notice that the shifting's just not quite where it was when you first started the ride. You'll get some chain skipping and not really shifting on a dime, and if that happens, just turn this a quarter turn, see if it improves. Just keep quarter turning that barrel that way until it gets better, and usually that solves it. You don't have to take it into the local bike shop to solve that. It's usually just a little turn and a half of the barrel. Okay, here we go with day 2. We're at 30 miles and pedal assist 1 range test, day 2. Here we go. Going up these hills in pedal assist 1, an 80-pound bike. It's a little painful. Very tempted to use the throttle, but I do it for you guys. But I think that's my main thing about this bike is I think it's a little unnecessarily heavy. There are some things that I will be pulling off to make it lighter, which that doesn't matter if you don't mind putting it up in some higher pedal assist modes. Not a big deal, except when you need to load it on bike racks or hang it up in your apartment, walk it up a flight of stairs. Then you're gonna feel it a little bit. Or if you're like me and you're stubbornly sticking to pedal assist 1 when you could easily knock it up a few notches and ride free. We're at 40 miles almost. 40 miles, halfway through what this bike is supposed to be able to do. And it looks like we're about half battery life. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. The battery indicator is really fat and squat. I prefer one that kind of goes up the side, shows you a little bit more in detail. It's going to surprise you when suddenly you look down and have no battery life. Just not as obvious in the indicator as I would like. But man, it's a beautiful day, and it's otherwise really enjoying this bike. A lot more fun going down this trail than coming up it, that's for sure. I love having the full suspension. So I don't know if you can see the screen, but the battery has just run out of juice and we are at 67.6, 67 and a half miles. That's a respectable amount for pedal assist 1, and probably, I don't know if that was what I was expecting. Definitely hoping for closer to 80, but I will say that that's probably, best case scenario. We're talking maybe a lab test, no hills, somebody who weighs a little bit less than me, maybe some 120-pound fit woman. I don't know who it is, but it's not me. Either way, 67.5, that's respectable. More of what I would expect, and plenty for my needs. So that was a fun test. Next, let's try it in boost mode and see how far we get. That should go a lot quicker and result in less of an exercise for me, which, you know, I kind of need the exercise. So, but, you know, I do this for you guys. I do it for you because I care. All right, that's enough. All right, range test number 2, but this time we get to go in luxury mode. That's right, pedal assist number 5. Oh yeah, hear that motor roaring. We're banging on all cylinders now. Let's see how far we can get on pedal assist mode 5. Now this bike, it's not a mountain bike, but it does have full suspension. And so that makes me want to just give it a try off-road here. So let's just swing on over to the dirt. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, got right up this. I mean, the wheels are slick, and that's not confidence inspiring. So, you know, don't take this off-road unless you plan to switch the wheels out. But oh yeah, nice and smooth. For an 80-pound bike, city bike, full suspension off-road, that's definitely smooth. This feels nice. I don't think I would try that on a number of other city bikes, city e-bikes that I have demoed in the past. But here we go to the real test of the motor. All right, here comes the next test that we want to do while we're in pedal assist 5, and that is up a 14% grade. I don't know if we count as an unauthorized motor vehicle or not, but I won't tell if you don't tell. Let's see how she does up this steepness. Yeah, this is pretty good. I'm not even in the easiest gear, and it's just trucking on up. No problem. No issue. Good little motor in this thing. That's a beautiful morning. No problem. Let's see how the braking goes on the way down. Let's see how it does if I slam on the brakes down here after going really fast. Oh yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know, a little stopping power, maybe more than I could even handle on something like that. So I love Shimano brakes though. I love that they've used Shimano brakes. Yeah, there's lots of bite. That's what I love about Shimano brakes. These are Shimano, I don't know, are they 2100, 2300? I forget. They're they're multi-finger. They're not like the single or double finger. They're made for more fingers to be on them, and they are 2-piston, not 4-piston. That worried me at first, but as you saw, there was plenty of stopping power. And that's because these are, you know, there's several reasons. They're disc brakes, obviously, that gives you, and Shimano disc brakes, no less, which gives you a lot of bite. But they're also hydraulic, and that's going to give you a lot more responsiveness with braking. A lot of e-bikes that I've been on, that I've worked on, they have cable, they're mechanical, and they just aren't as good. They're not as responsive, they're not as powerful. Hydraulic does require you to bleed the brakes every once in a while. So, you know, either learn how to do that or go to a local bike shop. The good news is Shimano's really are the easiest of all of the types of hydraulic brakes I've ever bled, Shimano are the easiest to bleed. So that's nice. And if you can't tell, I'm a massive fan of Shimano brakes, and I'm really, really happy that they put Shimano brakes on this bike and not many of the other brands that I've seen when e-bike companies are trying to cut corners. You'll see Tektro, which isn't the worst. I'm actually okay with Tektro. I don't mind them. But there's a lot of others that are not as good. But if you want a dependable city bike, I mean, this is what you get, this setup. And I have to say, this is what I would get. That's what interested me about this bike, got me really excited to review it, was that these specs they haven't cut corners anywhere with what you really need to have a good city commute experience. And this is the bike that I would definitely will use in my commute. So so far it's probably the best e-bike that I've ridden. That's saying something. Should go off-road again? Sure, why not? And I will say this, after going off some like ledges and I forgot to shift down. You know, you forget when you're on an e-bike sometimes that you still need to get in to an easier gear to get up something like that, even with pedal assist 5, because there's only so much you can do. But what was I saying? So there's a little ledge there. While this rear shock does great on something like that, let's go this way. What it's really for in a city bike like this is just to make it smooth, you know, make it a magic carpet ride in the city. It's not for going off jumps and stuff like what I'm doing right here, obviously. So, but I can't help myself. The step through, it's not the most manly looking feature in the world, but sometimes it is nice, like in that instance. Don't have to reach the old leg over the seat now. And that's what I'll say, like, if you're older, let's see if we can get up this. Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm not a technical genius when it comes to e-bikes and their capabilities, motors and wattages, all that good stuff. Far from an expert here, but I can tell you what a bike feels like, because that's what I do. I ride bikes, and I can tell you that this has all the power that I feel like I would ever need. I think I discovered what that click was, though, what that little creak was, and I think it's just this right pedal, so not a big deal, but I think I'd swap that out to get rid of that click, because I care about those little things, the little creaks and noises. If that doesn't bother you, then maybe these pedals are fine, and maybe the pedals you get won't have that, but that's where the creak comes from, so I'll probably swap those out. As far as speed, and this is a great opportunity to test that. (26, 28, 29). So if you're going downhill, even against the wind a bit, you can get up to 28. 26, 28 miles an hour if you're going slightly decline, still pedaling. But I'd say overall you can expect most of the time you'll be, you know, a little over 20 miles per hour on flat or light grades. Around 22 is what I'd say your average will be if you're pedaling hard in pedal assist 5. And then when you get on those downhills, you'll get up to, looks like you'll get up to 28 miles per hour max on those slight declines. Let's see how it does in a tight turnaround. I'm gonna turn around here. See how she maneuvers. Oh yeah, see, that's the, you can't do that on the fat bikes. And I know, like, a lot of people think those fat tires, those fat e-bikes are gonna give you more stability. And I don't know, people feel more secure, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of the fat bikes unless you really need that, unless you're gonna be on sandy or snowy conditions where you need that kind of grip. It really doesn't make sense because it gives you a ton of weight. And this is nice. These wheels I feel like are appropriately sized. They're kind of perfect for a recreational and city commuter. And it means that you can turn more quickly. You can do those. You don't have to do a 3-point turn to get around those tight turns like I did back there to turn around and just maneuver it, move it around. It's not going to weigh as much, but it's also just going to be more maneuverable of a bike. And I think that's more safe, honestly. So if you're thinking of a fat tire bike, thinking that'll be more secure, will give you more stability, I'm not sure that it will, and I'm not sure that'll give you the more safety, because maneuverability, you know, that can be important, especially if you're a commuter. They really have done so many things right with this bike. Now, another thing, design choice about this bike is the step through. And honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with step throughs. I'm mostly a mountain biker. So when you look at a bike like this with the step through, it takes some getting used to. I'm used to swinging my leg up over the back, which is what you want to do. If there was a top tube here, you don't want to do it over the middle because you can bang up the bike. So I'm so used to swinging up over the top that it's taken me a while to get used to this, you know, just stepping right through here. And I have to say, it's pretty nice. It's making me feel a little lazy, honestly, just a little spoiled, just being able to step through like that, which you can't get away with mountain bikes. You need that extra top bar. But with a bike like this, with that aluminum, a sturdy frame, and on the street, it makes sense. And it gives you, look at all of this real estate for attaching, you know, bike packing stuff or water bottles. But just as important, and also obviously with the battery under here, that's nice because you're not knocking it as you're stepping through. That's a good design choice. Battery hidden away inside the frame. But it's really nice if you are at all mobily impaired, if you've got joint muscle issues, if you're getting up there in years and it's, you know, you worry about getting your leg up over a big e-bike like this, but you want the power of an e-bike like this, step through is the way to go. It's just so easy to get on and just start pedaling, and yeah, works great. I want to show you one thing though, that the kickstand down here. One thing that the one gotcha with this bike, or the one thing that concerns me a tiny bit, is that with a lot of hardtail bikes, meaning no rear suspension, you feel everything a lot more in the rear. And because of that, when you come up on a curb like here and you're getting up on it, you'll slow down more because you're aware of how hard that's going to feel. But there's kind of the psychology of having a rear shock. And maybe this is me as a mountain biker, but I look at a curb like this like it's nothing, because I feel like I have suspension. I feel like I'm on a cloud. I come up on this going really fast, especially a city e-bike that can go 28 miles an hour, you know, or whatever. I'm going really fast and I'm coming at this curb, and I just did this thinking that it'll be fine. You forget that this weighs a lot in the rear. And when you come at that, even with the suspension, if you come at an angle especially, that's going to damage the rear wheel. You might hit the rim, you might bend it out of true. I really felt the whole thing kind of jar when I was coming at a curb with speed. And so that's something that I've got to remember, is that this is a heavy e-bike, and even though it feels wonderful when I'm riding it, I do need to be a little bit more gingerly than I would on a regular mountain bike if I'm coming up on a curb, because I'm going faster, two, it weighs a ton more. Now there's things to minimize it, and I think this is where I would go to what I would do to this bike if it was mine. If I was in the city, this locking mechanism, that would be cool. And if I have cargo, this would be cool. But since I'm not in the city, and since I usually don't have cargo, I would remove these and save some weight. That will help immensely to not weigh down the rear end of this bike as much. And I might even go back to a regular seat post. I mean, this is nice, especially if you've got different people riding it, because you can just change it so easily to different heights. So if you and your wife plan to share it, or if you've got kids that you don't mind lending it out to, then this can be really nice. Or if you like the ability to adjust it mid-ride, you know, sometimes you want to get higher up, sometimes lower. If you're going down inclines or up hills, you can get more leverage. Being up high, downhill, you can be more aerodynamic. That's why you use a dropper post on a mountain bike, one of the reasons. So this can be nice. But if it's just me, and if I want this to be lighter to help make it go further, the battery's going to last longer, and also the rear wheel's gonna like you. It's going to thank you. If you can, you know, reduce the weight, I would probably swap that out. But that's just me. And I'm not saying this isn't a great feature, and I love that they give you more than you need in many cases. This is more than I need, because you might need it. I mean, someone else might need it, but I don't. And so I'll probably remove those and save the weight because of the benefits I can get otherwise. So I don't know if that's... So that's about it as far as critical things. I mean, like I said, that pedal does drive me crazy, the clink. But man, other than that, this thing, it's great. It is probably my favorite city-style e-bike I have ever ridden or worked on, and I absolutely love it. Have I mentioned the color? I chose that color, by the way. Love the sparkly seafoam green. It makes me happy. This bike makes me happy. I love it. And I have no problem recommending it to you. Let's finish out this ride though. See how much further we can get. So we've got 20 miles so far. I'd say we're about halfway through the battery life. One thing I notice about the motor, and this is actually not uncommon, I've seen this more and more lately with e-bikes, at least with city bikes, is when you shift, you're going uphill, well really going anywhere, if you shift, the motor cuts out until you've engaged, until you've shifted into that new ring on the cassette. See, the motor cuts out, then it kicks back in again. Cuts out, kicks back in again. I'll shut up and let you hear it. I don't know if you can hear that, the whir of the motor kick out and then kick back in again. That's common these days, and I think the reason that e-bike producers are doing that, and what they haven't learned, is the 3S's that I was taught, that I teach younger riders, and that is the surge soft shift. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but the idea is that you surge, you push hard before you shift, and then you pedal softly, then shift, and that'll go easier on your drivetrain. Once you engage that new ring in the cassette, you're good to go, and you can begin cranking again. People don't do that on an e-bike. It can really mess things up. So I think that's why they've implemented that solution, I guess. And I personally wish that there was a setting that would allow you to turn that off. Maybe there is. If there is, I don't know about it. But for those of us who know what we're doing, we know we're not going to damage our drivetrains. It'd be really great if we could turn that off, so that when we're cranking up a hill, we know we can control with refinement So when we're cranking up a hill, we know, and we can control with refinement when we start cranking again, when we know it's safe to do so, rather than waiting that millisecond for the motor to engage, which is can be a little bit frustrating and kind of mess with your groove. It's not a big deal, and it only happens when you're surprised by a hill, honestly, and you got to get up it, and you're shifting down as quick as you can to get up this big hill. That's when it's going to happen. That's when you're going to notice that. So if you know what you're doing, maybe there's a way to disengage that. I don't know. They probably don't recommend that. Probably don't give you a way to do it. But, you know, for me, I'm going to be looking for a way to not have that inhibit me as a rider. But man, other than that, and a little bit of weight savings that I might do if I was going to make this long term my commuting e-bike. I love this bike, and I can't think of much to say as far as critical. We've just passed over the 100. I haven't reset the trip, so this is 104 miles that I've been riding this e-bike now, and you know, I'll probably learn more after 200 and 500 or however many, but for now I feel like I have a good handle, broken the bike in, got a pretty good handle on what its capabilities are. And I think my overarching conclusion is that the thing I like most about this bike is that they have not cut any corners. And I've seen so many corners cut on e-bikes. All right, well, my battery died on my chest-mounted Insta 360, so, and I forgot other batteries, but what was I saying? I was concluding, my conclusions about this bike are that they haven't cut any corners with it. I mean, and that's just, what else can you say? Like, they've thought of everything. They've tried to make it the perfect city commuter / recreational e-bike that they can. All the bells and whistles, everything you might need, more than I need. Great features, great specs, Shimano drivetrain and braking and air front suspension, rear suspension, great tires. Did I mention that these are not the cheap Chinese tires? These are Schwalbe. I might have forgotten that. I mean, just everywhere you look, there are refinements. There's good quality components. I mean, getting off the bike now just to look it over again. The motor is great. You know, a dropper post. What have you seen in a city e-bike with a dropper post? A great interface built into the stem, which I've not seen before, which is really nice, really elegant. Just feature after feature that I think that make an overall very, very good ride, and I'm very happy to have ridden 100 miles on this thing. We just clocked over 100 a little while ago. It looks like we're at 110, and with my experience so far, looking forward to many more. And I think that's all I want to say about this bike. Other than, you know, the battery, I forgot to mention, I finally expended the battery. We are there at our limits of what this bike can do. So I'll put on the screen right now how far we got. So a lot of good things to say about this bike, and I think lastly it's just to take a look. So you can see that I've expended the battery. We have used all the juice in pedal assist mode 5, and we have gotten about 40 miles. I don't remember. I'll put on the screen how many miles, more than I actually expected. So I'll put both the elevation profile and the miles traveled. You can see on the screen now, and it was not a windy day, so that helped, I'm sure. But I did hit quite a few hills.
So if you live in terrain similar to mine, if you weigh similar to me, that's about what you can expect in pedal assist 5. So great to know. Plenty of range. Yeah, overall I think I've said everything I want to about this bike. You can use the link below if you want to purchase one of your own, an affiliate link. That'll give me a little bit of money, and that's always appreciated, as right now this is my full-time job, and you know, got a family to feed. But yeah, thanks for watching. Whether you're watching this video because you're actually interested in this bike, or if you just like bike stuff, I really appreciate your view, and look forward to speaking with you again real soon.